Hey there folks, if you're enjoying these stories and want to see more like this, don't forget to follow our channel. Your support means a lot, so please subscribe, hit that like button and leave a comment below. It really helps us keep going and bring you more fascinating content. The mystery of the Nefertiti bust. It's October 16th, 2009. Over in East Berlin, the newly renovated Neues Museum is about to reopen. It holds the best collection of Egyptian artifacts in Germany, but the biggest attraction? The arrival of one of Egypt's most iconic queens, the bust of Nefertiti. This stunning piece of art had been on display in the Old Berlin Museum for 20 years. Now Nefertiti is being moved to take center stage in the new museum. People call her the ultimate masterpiece, timeless, flawless, and full of aesthetic beauty. When you look at her, you see what many would call perfect beauty. She's even been compared to the Mona Lisa. She's a symbol of Egyptian identity. Nefertiti is over 3,000 years old, and a lot of care is taken to protect her flawless face. The fact that she's in such good condition is actually one of the great mysteries in archaeological history. But the celebration was overshadowed by shocking news out of Geneva. Rumors began circulating in the media. Is the Nefertiti bust a fake? That bold claim came after a 20-year investigation by author and historian Henry Stearlin. He firmly believes it's a fake, or at least a replica. What made him suspicious? Well, mainly how perfectly preserved the bust was. When it was first found, it didn't look like anything else from ancient Egypt, nothing like the usual 3,300-year-old busts. To Stearlin, it was just too new to be real. Also, another bust was found nearby, the one of her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten. But his was completely damaged. So why would Nefertiti's be in perfect shape if they were found together? Could it be a fake?
In Montpellier, France, I looked into Stearlin's claims. I think it's fair to ask the question, but honestly, the arguments aren't strong enough. If Stearlin had more solid scientific evidence, I'd be willing to consider it. As of now, there's just too much doubt.
Meanwhile, back in Berlin's Neues Museum, a press conference was held. Reporters took notes, but no one dared ask about the accusations. In Germany, even questioning the bust's authenticity is almost taboo. After all, the bust, discovered over a century ago in Egypt by German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt, has become a national symbol for Germany. Still, the question was put to the museum's director, Friederike Seyfried.
When you stand in front of it, you never doubt it. Of course it's real. The real question is, why would it be fake?
Interestingly, several American, Italian and French archaeologists have also expressed doubts about the bust's authenticity, but none have made their suspicions public. So, we decided to do our own investigation. See, everyone's extremely cautious. No one's willing to openly declare it's fake. But is Egypt's most famous statue really a forgery? To get to the truth, we spoke with the top experts, put the bust through forensic testing and explored its history in depth. What we discovered may change how you see Egypt's most mysterious queen and the famous bust that bears her face.
So, who was Nefertiti? She's one of the great enigmas of ancient Egyptian history. Generations of archaeologists have searched every artifact, studied every hieroglyph on every wall and temple column, just looking for any trace of her. They even traveled the length of the Nile, all the way to Karnak, one of the largest religious centers in ancient Egypt, hoping to find evidence. Deep inside the maze of temples and pillars, they finally uncovered her earliest image, carved into stone from a now-lost temple. But Nefertiti's origins remain a mystery. She was likely Egyptian and almost certainly the wife of the famous 18th dynasty pharaoh Akhenaten. She was his main wife, the only one allowed to use the title Great Royal Wife.
We know who her nurse was, we know who her sisters were, but we still know almost nothing about her family background. Honestly, we just don't know. She was one of Egypt's most documented queens, yet ironically she's the one we know the least about. Her parents are unknown, but what's unforgettable is her beauty, a face that seems incredibly modern.
Thanks to her husband Akhenaten, a radical and rebellious pharaoh, her name survived in history. Akhenaten became famous for promoting the sun god Aten as the one and only god, banning all other traditional Egyptian gods. He built new temples, many of them open to the sky so sunlight could shine directly in. In this new religion, Akhenaten became one with the sun god. It was also a time of royal romance. Nefertiti and Akhenaten were Egypt's ultimate power couple. Their love started young, possibly as early as age 14, and they were often depicted deeply in love, holding hands, riding in royal chariots, embracing and even kissing. One scene shows Nefertiti placing a necklace on Akhenaten while he kisses her cheek. It's one of the most intimate scenes ever carved into stone. It must have been a real love story. By their 7th year together, Akhenaten and Nefertiti left Karnak and moved to the desert to build a new royal city called Akhetaten, now known as Tel El Amarna, which means horizon of the sun. It was a massive city built quickly, meant to hold 50,000 people. Temples there had no roofs, so the sun could shine directly in. But their rule only lasted 17 years. After their deaths, their successors destroyed every trace of them, tearing down their city and dismantling their palaces stone by stone. Within 30 years, the entire city was swallowed by the desert, like a, well, sandy Pompeii.
For 3,000 years, the city was untouched, until 1912. December 6, 1912. That's when Ludwig Borchardt and his team made the discovery of a lifetime, the Nefertiti bust. It was found in a remote corner of the ancient city, just 50 centimeters below some gravel. Borchardt, a Berlin-born architect turned archaeologist, had long been fascinated by Egypt. In 1906, he organized digs at the ruins of Akhenaten's city, known by then as a ghost town, even a crime scene of archaeological destruction. But Borchardt had a secret goal, to find something spectacular to bring back to Berlin's museums. Back then, Egypt was the world's biggest hunting ground for archaeologists. Prussia was falling behind in the race to acquire treasures, and the Kaiser ordered Borchardt to bring back the goods, whatever it takes. Before digging, Borchardt sought advice from Cairo's top archaeologists, many of whom worked with tomb raiders. They told him there was a section of Akhenaten's old city that hadn't yet been touched, especially the southeastern quarter. Borchardt, who was also an architect, had already drawn floor plans of that area. He was interested in housing structures and started digging near the large villas, areas marked by small mounds. It turned out to be a brilliant move. He eventually uncovered a complex of workshops, specifically the home and studio of the royal sculptor Thutmose, the man who sculpted Nefertiti and Akhenaten. There, in one corner of the artist's house, Borchardt discovered the now famous bust of Nefertiti, buried for over 3,000 years. But that wasn't all. The studio was filled with treasures, including other busts, masks, and statues, even a half-finished sculpture of Akhenaten. All of these were given to the Berlin Museum.
But here's the twist. Borchardt didn't publish his full report on the dig until 10 years later. This detail raised eyebrows, and eventually fueled the idea that something suspicious might have happened. So, is the Nefertiti bust fake? Or is it one of the most perfectly preserved ancient artworks ever discovered? Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure, Nefertiti still has the power to mesmerize us 3,000